2, 1. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Failure Friday. Today, we have one of my best friends, definitely my oldest friend. Sydney, how long have we been friends? 8 years old?
Yeah, so 21-ish years.
21-ish years. Yeah, we're getting up there. And she's very dear to my heart. She has been through a lot, including a massive career change here later in life when people are just starting to really climb that corporate ladder or make strides in their business. Sydney has decided to completely start over, which is just like Sydney. If you knew Sydney,
it's never easy.
Never. She was in healthcare for the last 7 years, and she comes from a line of healthcare. Her mom has worked at Morton Plant Hospital. Is that in Tampa or St. Pete?
Clearwater, but
it's in Clearwater. Not even, yes, kind of close, not close. How long has your mom been there?
She's been there for 33 years.
33 years. So it was only a natural transition, I think, for you to at least try out that industry. But then you stuck with it for a minute. And now she's at her first day at the Fire Academy. So I'm sure we're going to touch on
Welcome to my humble abode.
I know, right? Yeah, it's literally back in a dorm. It's not even, it looks more like a jail cell dorm.
Oh yeah,
actually.
You should see the bathroom.
Oh, I don't want to.
I had to go buy a shower curtain when I got here. There's none on there.
Probably cleaning products as well. You might, hopefully don't get MRSA.
No,
I think at some point.
I went and got cleaning supplies as well at Walmart.
I like your little pictures.
Thank you. My collages.
Personal touch.
I have UV here too.
So Sydney, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you ended up in this career change? First talk a little bit about the healthcare industry, why it didn't work out, and then how it brought you here.
So I still actually really like healthcare. There's parts of it I like very much, and that is something I can continue to do with this career. After the Fire Academy, I plan on going back for my medic. So I'll be a fire medic, and it's basically like, I would compare it to like a street nurse. You run the medical calls. So
when my grandma broke her hip and the firefighters came, the guy that came out with the head guy of the medical aspect of her being rescued, that's what you're doing?
Yes, would be the medic. I mean, that's not the schooling I'm in right now. I'm just in fire EMT, but once I get this, I'll go on for my medic. But yes, eventually that's the goal. So, I still will be in healthcare in some form. It's just a little bit different. I've worked in long-term care. I've worked in acute settings in the hospital. I've worked in open heart surgery. And recently I just was a hospice nurse. And so I've kind of been all over the place. And I like to move around. I like to see different things. And I just feel like this is very fitting for me. I've also always been kind of a tomboy, and this is just the perfect field for me, I feel like, in a lot of ways. My brother's a firefighter. He has been in our hometown in Seminole for, I think, coming up on 3 years now, and he's the one that really encouraged me. I know. It was 3 years because he graduated right when I had Evie, and he's been with Seminole pretty much ever since. He is my biggest encouragement and was my biggest motivator to go this avenue. After my divorce, I just felt like I really just needed like a life change, and I wasn't happy in my career. I wasn't happy with a lot. So he just said, Sid, I work with a couple girls and you're exactly like them. Your personality would fit it. He's like, you'd be good at the job. And I think you should do it. And I was like, all right, sign me up. And I literally we had that conversation last year on my birthday, November 20th. And this year, it took me a whole year, but I finally started. So it's been a long journey to get here though, between, having to get in and my scholarship and everything. So I'm just happy to finally be here and excited to get started tomorrow.
So talk a little bit about, for people that are maybe interested in this, but have no idea where to start. What is the process of getting to where you are right now with the Fire Academy, from application to approval?
So it was a little different for me because, again, I did receive a scholarship for this, and my fire college is like the number one fire college in Florida. It's a paramilitary school, Florida State Fire College. So it's not just a like normal academy. It's a little more, I would say, elite is a good word to describe it. But so for me personally, I had to pass a test called the CPAT, which is a physical assessment. It's an obstacle course essentially that you have to finish in a certain amount of time. And normally you take the CPAT after you graduate fire school, and you take it to get a job. Like, you have to pass that in order to get a job. Well, I had to pass that just to even apply to get into this college.
Oh.
So that was my biggest, that's something that I really had to work on, because it's a very hard obstacle course, and especially for girls. They put you in a 50-pound weight vest, 70 for some of it and 50 for the other. I believe that was the correct weight. And I mean, I'm only 135 pounds, so I'm carrying around like
another body.
Almost, yeah. So I had to train for that, and that took me months. I actually joined a CrossFit gym to get in shape for it, because what I was doing on my own, I wasn't able to pass it. So that's the biggest thing on how I got in here. But there are like a little bit of it. There's an academic portion, but because I graduated from a Florida college in the last 10 years, I got to waive that test, but there would be like a little academic portion that I would have had to pass too. But
so college education isn't required.
No, actually, most people, I would say, like, I don't know my class very well yet, but most of them are very young. They're either like right out of high school, like 18 years old, or a lot of them are veterans. A lot of
Do you feel old?
The fire industry. A little bit. A little. Yeah, my body feels old. It doesn't recover like it used to. But
I'm really excited for you, though. Is there a different test, or do they alter it a little for the women?
No. And in the program,
That's
I have to
both
do the same.
Refreshing and terrifying.
Yeah, but in this industry, if you can't do the job, you can't do the job. And just because I'm a girl doesn't mean anything. Right. If I can't do the weight, if I can't do whatever they're doing, then what am I going to be on the job? So I understand it. It does kind of stink a little bit, but like tomorrow I'll have a PT test, and I hit all the same mile markers and numbers as the boys.
No, but I think that's cool, right? Because that means that it's possible for you to pass it.
Very possible. And not only that, but I like want to be respected, and I want to earn a way through here and not be given any slack because I'm a girl. So I like it, but it's also a little bit stressful. I get really nervous before my physical stuff.
Oh, you were having like a mini panic attack the last 2 days, so
yeah.
It's a lot.
I'm better today, much better.
I mean, now I would hope so, because you're there. Suck it up, buttercup.
I've been hydrating.
Yeah, me too. With my juicy juice and tequila and public sushi, because it's just been that kind of a fucking day. So here we are. It was not a godly day for me. I can honestly say that. Not godly at all. So what personal or professional career failure do you think would be most beneficial to share tonight?
Well, I have quite a few in the last, all my adult life, basically.
I know, I'm excited.
But I would say particularly for this, going back to when I told you I decided I wanted to do this, before applying for the scholarship that I ended up receiving, I tried to get into SPC's Fire Academy, and I took a physical obstacle course test that they have there called the, oh gosh, I just drew a blank. It sounds like CPAT, so I'm getting them confused, but PAT. It's a test called the PAT, and it's another obstacle course with like 5 different things in it, and you have to finish it in a certain amount of time. Well, I failed that I ran out of time with on the last thing, and it was physically like one of the hardest things I've ever done. I was like in tears after, because I was just actually dying, and then I still didn't pass. So it sucked, but I was like, all right, that's like, I had 2 test dates. I was like, I have 3 weeks. Like, now I know what it's like. I'm going to come back. I'm going to crush it next time. I already know what I got to do. It's going to be good. Came back 3 weeks later, same thing. I ran out of time on the last thing. I got a little bit closer, but I was like 5 feet from the finish line when the time ran out.
Oh.
So again, it was like a gut punch, because I was like, okay, now I can't get into this academy it would have been, I would have graduated in December, so it would have been in like the fall. So I was like, all right, now I can't get into this academy, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, if I can't pass this test, like, how am I even going to get in? So that's when instead of giving up, I joined the CrossFit gym that I went to the last few months before coming here, and I was going consistently 5 days a week. And they were changing up the workouts for me a little bit to be a little bit more geared towards what I needed to do to pass the PAT, because I was planning on going back to SPC. Well, while all that was going on, the scholarship opportunity came up, and the first part was writing an essay on when you faced adversity and overcame it. So I'm like, oh, what the heck, I'll try and write this essay. I mean, there's probably a zillion people going for this, but I'll just do it. I ended up hearing back from them, and they said, you're one of the final contestants. Come up to Ocala to do the physical assessment portion. So I had like maybe 2 weeks between that and coming up to Ocala, where I am now. And they basically put me through half a day of just like physical tests. We did like an over 2 mile run, max out on push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, another obstacle course with weight on us. It was pretty brutal, honestly. And I was going up against 12 guys for the scholarship.
Oh my God.
I didn't think for 1 second at first I was going to get it, but I was like, any exposure to the fire world at this point is beneficial. So I'm just gonna do it. And I ended up getting a call 3 days later that they chose me, and here I am. So
that's badass. I didn't know that story.
Yeah, there's a lot of times that I could have quit, and I halfway wanted to, and there's a lot of tears involved and a lot of pep talks from my brother. But it all worked out, and I'm glad that I'm glad that I went through with it, and I'm also happy for the failures now, because it made me stronger on the other side.
How did you hear about the scholarship though?
Facebook. It just popped up on my Facebook, and I would like to add what the scholarship is for, because it's in remembrance of somebody. It's called the Emilio Rivera Foundation Scholarship. He was a Marine veteran, and he was also a firefighter, and he ended up taking his own life I think the 2-year anniversary just passed, or 2 or 3 year. So his brother Gary every year puts somebody through the fire academy in honor of his brother. So it's like big shoes to fill, and it's not just like a little scholarship. Like, I have his name on my back, and I have a lot of people like rooting for me, and like I have to be successful. So
I mean, that's a lot of pressure too.
It is, but I do well with that. Like, if I'm working, I mean, my number one person I'm working for is myself and Evie, but 2, I don't like to let people down, especially people that have financially provided for me or whatever. It's kind of like a good pressure to me. So
I feel that.
I think
Yeah.
growing up and like playing sports and stuff and having that pressure and having the just somebody over you all the time is actually, I thrived in that setting. Probably most people wouldn't, but works for me.
I think a lot of people don't. I, for one, that was not my strong suit. I did not do good with authority growing up, as you know. It was
I mean, I
definitely,
talked back,
definitely.
but
Yeah,
did I
but
get
I think that, and I think I talked about her in another episode. I have a client who she's high up on the corporate ladder at a big company, and the hiring person that hired her 20 years ago said that he doesn't even look at this is when you could say things like this. He said he doesn't even look at a woman's application for this type of job unless they've played sports past high school. Because that shows discipline, that shows that they can perform under pressure, it shows competitiveness. And I thought that was a really cool point, because all of those things
I don't
are
disagree.
100% true. Yeah. No, I think that's awesome.
Although I would have never gotten the opportunity because I didn't go past college or high school. Man,
yeah,
I'm one
but
of the
I
most
mean,
competitive people I know.
it still speaks to the point, though, that is a really good deciding factor on for kids that might be watching this that are in high school. That is something. Stick with sports. They're not, even if you're not the best, even if you're not starting, like what you learn in sports. This is why no matter what, my kids will play sports. You learn so much valuable information on social skills, work ethic from sports. I definitely think you're putting yourself at a disadvantage if you don't. How would someone watching this who is struggling take away from your experience? Specifically, I'd want you to speak to a female trying to get into the fire academy.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. So another woman who's trying to get into the fire academy, who's struggling, what tidbits of useful, applicable information would you give her?
Well, I mean, I can only give so much opinion right now because I haven't even started and I don't actually know what the heck I'm getting myself into tomorrow. But based on, like I said, I had to take the CPAT to get in here, and normally women would take that, or anybody would take that after graduating. Right. And just based off that test, first of all, start doing weight workouts. Everything you do, put a weight vest on. I bought myself a weight vest, and I just taking the dog for a walk. I put a weight vest on. Go in the gym and
what weight? I
started out with 30 pounds, but you end up doing weight. I mean, you end up carrying 50 to 70 pounds.
Okay.
So you got to work your way up. Yeah. Lots of stairs. I lived on the Stairmaster for a while.
How long on the Stairmaster?
I mean, I was starting out with 10 to 20 minute workouts, but now I can be on there for 50 minutes and I'm fine. So you got to work your way up.
She's fine.
I'm fine, but it sucks. It's something that you never enjoy, but I'm able to handle it cardiovascularly now, where I don't feel like I'm going to fall off the back of the thing. But
so wait, you can get on the Stairmaster for 50 minutes with a 70-pound weight vest on?
No, I do my 30-pound one.
God, I was going to say that's intense.
Oh yeah, no. It just cramp up and I fall off.
Yeah, that sounds like sorry to interrupt. That was just
part of the CPAT. The first 3 minutes is a 70-pound weight vest on level, I think 8 or 9. And you can't touch the rails, so you are holding on to yourself like this, just trucking up the thing. And by 2 minutes, you just are praying that Jesus comes back and takes everyone. Yeah, it's terrible. And then you got to get off after the 3 minutes. They take part of the weight off, so you only carry on with the 50 pounds, and then you got 7 other obstacles to finish with 7 minutes remaining. So. But to wrap this answer up, really for females, you really gotta get in good physical condition. We're already at a disadvantage just because we're usually smaller and not as strong as men. So that would be my biggest advice, is either join some sort of a CrossFit gym or get some sort of a trainer, or if you're really self-dedicated, there's tons of like YouTube type things that you could probably like train yourself. But for me, again, I joined a CrossFit gym and was going 5 days a week, and that helped me tremendously. But the biggest thing is like, it's all mental toughness is like the number one thing that you got to have here. And thankfully, I am pretty strong there because the last few years have been pretty crappy, and I've had to be mentally tough to get through. So, I mean, this is just this can't be as bad as what I've gone through the last few years. So I feel like I'll be all right.
You've definitely overcome that, I would say, like gracefully.
Yeah, and coming to a place that I'm truly actually content with myself and by myself. And that's like a big thing, because for a long time, like, even though I was telling myself I was okay and that I was like okay alone, I really actually wasn't. And deep down, I felt like I needed to be with somebody. But I've gotten to a place now that it almost scares me to be with somebody, because I'm 100% content being alone. And I don't know.
Was this after your divorce or after Evie?
After my divorce. I mean, that's a whole nother like ball game and story. But when we first separated and started the divorce process, I felt like I wanted somebody there just to not feel so lonely, because it was just a very lonely, sad process. And so I dated somebody else for a little bit, and that was just so like unhealthy for me, because I wasn't ready to be with anybody else. And so since we broke up, I've been by myself, and I don't want to say I've gotten here by myself, because I have the greatest support system. I have the best family and friends that have had my back and encouraged me through this whole process. And I also, again, had the financial help. So I don't want to say I did it by myself, but I definitely did a lot, if that makes any sense.
No, you totally did.
I had to make a lot of choices and sacrifices, and and things to get here, including leaving my daughter for 5 days at a time to come to school here. That's not easy at all for me, but I know in the long run it's going to benefit us both. So
definitely. And the good news is, for those who don't know Sydney, she also has a young daughter, same age as my daughter. She'll be 3 because Kenny's birthday is February, so she's
Evie just turned 3 on Thanksgiving.
Okay, so she's November. Wow, I didn't realize she's right by your birthday.
Yeah, 5 days.
That's nice. That's birds with one stone. How long did it take you to realize that, to get to the point where you were okay being alone after your divorce? Because I think I definitely struggle with that in friendships, in my relationship.
I mean, actually, my divorce was only just finalized November 18th, so it's only
I guess after the split.
Yeah, after the split. Probably, like mid 2001, like summer this past year, 2001.
So how many months is that after
2021? Oh gosh, well, originally we separated when she was like 6 months old. Went to counseling, tried getting back together and all that jazz. But probably, gosh, it took me, I would say, over a year.
Yeah, I think that's normal. And I don't think enough people talk about that. There's so much divorce right now. It's so common, unfortunately. But that what you're talking about is so important, because like after any bad relationship, doesn't have to be even a marriage breakup, any breakup, I feel like there's this period where you're just relentlessly irresponsible and reckless. And a lot of that's just because you're so terrified of being alone. So to know that it takes you about a year to a year and a half, 2 years, like it's that time period's okay. I feel like that was
for
necessary.
Sure. It really honestly could even take longer. I had a lot of like closure before I even left, if that makes any sense. Like by the time I left, it's kind of, and that's when I actually like started to heal. So it wasn't like extremely fresh, but I would say, I think I healed pretty fast. Like I think it would take a lot longer.
I do too.
Usually.
And I think that you had such an amazing support system.
Oh yeah. Like I said before, best family and friends. I literally couldn't ask for anything else. If I was having a tough day or whatever, I had 5 people I could go do something with, or people inviting me over to come spend the night or have dinner with them or whatever. And that's a huge help. I know a couple people going through divorce or separation right now that don't have the support system that I do or did, and I don't know how they're doing it, because when I wasn't strong, I needed somebody to be strong, and thankfully I have that with a lot of people in my life, including you.
Thanks. Yeah, I've seen people go batshit crazy, and that's why I think that yours was so graceful, so much more graceful than it should have been. But it also helps that you going through counseling, you can leave with the not the satisfaction, but the peace of knowing I tried. Like you tried.
Yeah.
Is that what you wrote about in your paper?
I really just talked about being a single mom, and I worked, like at one point I was working 3 jobs just to like get by, and I just basically talked about how I never like gave up on that. I would go from one job to the next and not sleep for days except for like little naps here and there, and juggle my daughter in between, and it was only a 1-page paper, so I didn't have to go into much detail. I just basically said what my year was like, and
So speak to that a little bit. What would you say to a single mom coming out of a divorce, maybe not going to the fire academy, but just coming out of a divorce and financially trying to get on their feet, establish a routine, and create a sense of stability for their young child? How did you deal with your mental health at that point?
Honestly, that was probably my biggest burden, and my biggest stressor was money. And I think that's a lot of people, but I didn't, well, first of all, I left with basically nothing. So I was living like paycheck to paycheck, and I was like, okay, well, this is not like sustainable. So I got another job, and then I also got another like on-call type gig, because I still was like barely getting by, and I wasn't able to put
craziest job ever, by the way. I want to hear about that after. Still don't know how you did that.
But then so I was working all the time, but then it was really affecting my mental health, because I felt like I wasn't being a good mom. And Evie is, at the end of the day, my number one priority, and being present in her life is something that it's the most important thing to me. So that's another reason I kind of changed up careers a little bit, is because my schedule of firefighters work 24 on, 48 off. So I'm going to be able to be extremely present in her life, and I'll work the days that her dad has her, and if I need to pick up some overtime here and there, then I can do that as well. So Yeah, I don't really remember the original question, but
Well, what
finance.
advice would you give to a single mom fresh out of a divorce,
Oh,
trying to establish stability financially?
first of all, if you have support, lean on them, and don't be. There's so many days I was like embarrassed, or I mean, some days I still am, but it's just a small part of your life, and people a lot of times people want to help. They want to help you get back on your feet, and if they see that you're trying, then they're going to help. And I've always been, I feel like, a very good friend. If my friends need me, I think anybody would say I would drop anything and be there for whoever. So for me, people wanted to help, and I had to swallow my pride and ask for it when I needed it. I also would, I mean, not suggest, but you just got to do what you got to do. Again, it's a small season of your life. If you have to work two jobs, or you have to, work a job that you don't necessarily like for a little while to put some money away, then you gotta grind and do it. And that's what basically I've been doing for the last couple years. And
Yeah, I would say longer than that. It feels like it's
yeah,
been longer than that.
well, it's been like 2.5 years.
Yeah, some of
And
your schedules were crazy.
oh yeah, well, it's another thing that's rewarding for this field, because you can easily work a 24-hour shift and you get calls the whole time.
Well, not even that. You're so used to just gross shit that,
Oh,
or just like
yeah.
depressing shit. Like you just know how to like turn off your emotions and turn them on.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of, like, how when cops first start, or some of those positions that are exposed to like bodily anything, a lot of people, it
Bodily
takes
fluids.
time. Yeah, it takes time to get used to that, but you've already,
Yeah,
you could see a cadaver, you'll be fine.
Yeah. I think I haven't seen yet, but I think what probably bother me is like a car accident with like a child involved. And it's only because I have one now, and I know how much I love her, and how much, like just how precious they are. But before,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have been too bothered by it. That's about the only thing that could really like wreck my world at this point. I've pretty much, I don't want to say I've seen it all, but I've seen a lot.
Yeah, one of her jobs was peeling skin off of dead bodies.
Okay, she did not describe that accurately.
I described it accurately.
I worked at a tissue bank, and we would harvest the skin, bones, tendons, and whatever else the donors were giving. So yes, if they were giving their skin, we cut the skin off. If they were giving their bones and tendons, I would cut them out. So, but yes, blood and guts and gore does not bother me in the least. Poop, pee. I don't like mouths. I don't like spit. That's about it, though. I do know
everyone's got a mouth, so you're pretty much guaranteed to come in contact with mouths.
I know I'm going to be like intubating people eventually, and they're going to be like,
oh.
But
so how has have these experiences shaped your psyche? Clearly, you're a completely different person than you were when you were in high school or even college. How has these experiences, these last few years, shaped your behaviors, and how has this change in your psychology, your character, made you better as a person, as a mom, in your career?
Okay, well, what aspect are we talking about? Like my divorce, my career change, the jobs I've had?
Would pick and choose from whatever fuck up you want.
I mean, as a whole, I feel like I'm a much more humble person. I used to think I kind of had all the answers. I wouldn't say it out loud, but like in my head, I'm like, well, this lady's not doing this right, or like, what the heck is she doing, or whatever. And I've just come to realize that life's hard, and everybody does things differently. And just because it's not my way doesn't mean it's not the right way. And I mean, my way's been hard. Yes. Oh, you do you, boo boo. Actually, I don't care. So I guess I guess, humility. And also, I've always had a pretty strong work ethic. My parents raised me to work hard, and when I say I'm going to do something, you do it, and you show up on time for your job, or you show up early, actually. Call out sick, not you're sick. They instilled all those things in me, but now, I feel like I have an even stronger work ethic, if that was possible. Like I'm definitely somebody that you want on your team and you want to work for you, because I'm going to give it 110%. I'm going to show up every day, and I leave my crap at home. Like, I don't come to work with whatever's going on. The whole time I was like working in the hospital, I would talk to my friends a little bit and coworkers a little bit about it, but they had no idea the extent of what was going on, like, mentally with me, because I didn't bring it to work. I come and do my job and go. So
Yeah,
work ethic, humility, and those are probably my top two.
Yeah, I definitely think that throughout my life, the biggest way that I've changed is humility. And I think that's probably the most common, because life just has a way, God, whatever you want to call it, I think it's God, just has a way of putting you on your ass. I feel like every time I've judged someone for something in my life, that same scenario has happened to me at some point later in the future, and I've had to make either a similar decision or thought back on that moment and like, wow, that I was like an asshole for doing that. I definitely think the second thought you have is way more important than your first thought. We all are naturally, primarily judgmental, but I think the second thought you have after that judgment is so much more important.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something else I kind of wanted to touch on at some point in this. We just brought up God. My relationship with Him has grown tremendously in the last year, because I was born and raised in church. I used to go to private school. I was always in youth group, but I feel like I really never made my relationship with Him my own until this past year, because I just hit absolute rock bottom. And there's been times in my life, like highs and lows, like you go through them. But I know that, like, I prayed about this since the day I decided I wanted to go into the fire academy. I started praying about it, and He's just continued to open doors for me and made it clear that this is where I'm supposed to be. So, I know some people don't believe in God, and you have your own beliefs, but for me, I know that this is His plan for me, and He's made that very, very clear this entire time.
Yeah, I would say that my relationship with God has been pivotal into me constantly growing into a better person every year. Yeah. And one thing I could be so much better on is reading. I really struggle with reading the Bible. I don't look forward to it. One thing that has helped is I got a message Bible, so that, like, when I don't understand a passage, because I'm pretty smart, guys, but when I have to read something 10 times to even kind of understand, like, that's what I don't like about the Bible. I have to read something 10 times and I still don't understand what they're saying. The message Bible has helped a lot.
Yeah, if you're reading it 10 times, I'm reading it 100, and I'm still like, what the heck is actually happening? It
drives me insane. But that's another thing.
I started a Bible study, and it's literally us going through the Bible. It's actually a 2-year study, and we take it and break it down. And it's an older woman that leads it, and she breaks it down, and I've been able to understand a lot more since I've actually been putting in the effort. And she actually sends out the Zooms, so even though I can't go on Tuesdays,
supposed to be sending me those.
I know, I suck. We'll have to start that up. But I did miss the last few weeks, like before the holidays and stuff. It got a little crazy. But she sends out the Zoom links every Tuesday. So even though I'm not home and able to go to them still, I can, when I get out of school, I'll probably come in Tuesday nights and listen in.
Yeah, I think that's so important.
A huge thing for me. If I have to stay rooted, or I get a little cuckoo.
Yeah, same
mentally.
here. I think, and just surrounding yourself with a community of people who are also on the same page, not even just in
Mhm.
Not just Christians, but I would say the same page
It was just
of
like-minded.
Christianity. Yeah,
Yeah.
like-minded, like not judgmental, not perfect in their faith. There's nothing that I can't stand more than a Christian that every single thing I have to say about how I'm trying to grow or where I'm struggling, they throw a Bible verse that they've memorized at me. I'm just like, that is not helping.
Oh, I've had a
That
few of
is
those in
not
my life.
relatable. Like,
Mm-hmm.
stop it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just reading community and just talking. So how I grew in my faith, one, childbirth is what brought me there. But just throughout the day, I probably pray like 50 times a day. And most of that is because my goal for this year was when someone is going through something and I say I'm going to pray for them, I pray right then, either with
Mm-hmm.
them or I send them a text or I send them a voice message, because I think so many times we say, oh, I'm going to pray for you, you're in my prayers, and we totally forget. Doing that, and then going back to what you said earlier, sorry to rewind so much, but you said that asking for help and not feeling embarrassed as someone who on the outside of that situation, us as people who can provide help, whether it's financial, just moral shoulder to cry on, we need to stop asking people like, what can we do for you, how can we help? Just help. Just send money to their Cash App. Just be like, hey, I'm bringing dinner to you on Wednesday. Please have someone at the house. Like, just do it. Don't ask, because then that creates a situation to be embarrassed about, right? You have to overcome the hurdle of, oh God, I need it, but I don't want to say it. Just fucking do it.
Yeah,
Just
I
show
can't
up.
tell you the amount of times that I've had friends or family do stuff like that. You were one of them at the beginning of my separation. And then like there's a time that I went over to my friend Taylor and Robert's house. I went on a walk with Taylor and I came back and her husband Robert had taken my car and got it. I think he filled it up with gas and he cleaned it because it was just filthy. And I just was running with my choke out. And I literally I like cried. And it was like not a big deal to him, but it meant like everything to me. And, I've had people just send me stuff, or, pay for my dinners. Or one time, my friend Karina just took me grocery shopping because she knew I was like tight and she just paid the whole thing. There's been so many times in my life that people have like stepped up and done things like that. And it's just literally brought me to tears every time. And I can almost cry now thinking about it because I'm really like super blessed to have all the people in my life that I have. But to what you said, it does make a huge difference.
Yeah. So if you're in a position to help in any way, I would challenge anyone watching this, challenge you, Sydney, just show up without asking. I think that you don't even have to be friends with the person. Like, just, you can send meals on Uber Eats.
Yeah. And another thing is like, for me, I'm not like financially very well off. So for me, I don't show up financially, but, go watch somebody's baby so they can go out and have a date with their husband, or just a date, or go get their nails done. There's a lot of things that you can do that don't necessarily require a lot of money. I'm more of like I sacrifice my time for people. Like sometimes I will have, a lot going on, but like for artist's birthday, for example, I kind of had like a lot going on, but I was like, you know what? I haven't seen Kendall in a long time. It's his first birthday. Like, I got to make this happen. She's been my friend for a long time, and it would mean a lot for me to be there. So I make it happen. So there's a lot of things that people can do that aren't financial. So if you, I don't know, because I haven't been able to do anything like financially for somebody probably in years.
No, but like for someone like me who is not in financial need, I don't want your money. I want your time. I want a text message from people that lets me know like you're thinking about me and I haven't texted you. And if you like, I just want to know that I am crossing people's mind. Like, I just want acknowledgement. And even a text message. I mean, The people that I have in my circle that are really in my circle, I don't have many that are in my inner circle. I am so thankful for time, people that just show up, so important. So I think that what I would take from this conversation is just fun, not you, because you have so much shit going on right now and you just go to bed at this point. But I would challenge people to show up for someone who is going through divorce, is having a career change. Be considerate and thoughtful, even if it's not in your nature. For me, like I am constantly thinking about how other people feel, but I don't think that comes as naturally to other people. So I would just challenge you to be kind this week. Thank you for coming, Sydney. I know we put this off a little bit.
Sorry, we've rescheduled multiple times, but hey, I think it's really real now that we're in here at my college dorm room at 29 years old.
It is hysterical that how much that is adorable. Do you have a roommate?
And no, I'm the only girl in the on campus. Period. There's no girls in the EMT class.
Wait, what?
Class.
That's how many of there are you?
We started with 60 and we dropped, I think, around like 20 on our first PT test. So I think we're down to like 40. I'll find out when I get to class tomorrow. And then the EMT classes here. So the class that just finished fire. Now they're doing EMT, and they had a girl, but she failed out. So I'm literally the only female on campus.
That is
there's
so
two.
cool.
There's two that work the front desk. So if I get hard up,
no shame in that.
I guess I can go talk to them.
But yeah, I'm so proud of you. I want you to know, and I want you to be proud of yourself. You've come so far.
I'll be more proud
as someone
June
who was
10th.
in her. I've only been in one wedding, and it was Sydney's, and hopefully there'll be another one in the future.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do the whole wedding thing if I get married again. We're probably just gonna. I'll definitely have a bachelorette because that was
no shame in that
the
game.
best thing ever.
I didn't do it,
but yeah, I mean for sure you would. If I did it again, you would still be there.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it's on video because you have to at this point. We're too far in this. But thank you for coming on, Sydney. I love you.
Thank you for having me. Love you too.
This is another episode of Failure Friday, where we talk about failure in our lives and how it shaped us as people, made us better people, better business owners, better mothers, better fathers, better Christians, and how we can utilize that to motivate people in the same situation or people who are thinking about it. And if you're interested, we are booked out for the next 3 months, but I would love to have you on if you think you could positively contribute to this. And I hope everybody has a great night and a good week and is safe and healthy and blessed. So good night, everyone. See you later.
Night.
All right. Love you, Sid.